Hello, my name is Ella. I'm going to present to you today a discussion about why some therapists are different than others, or why a session might be different than another. So here at Mama Massage and Spa, we train everybody in a very similar method and technique, but not everyone will give the same massage that maybe another therapist gave for a new client. I'm going to discuss a few things. The first thing we want to discuss is that not all therapists are the same, and they don't all fit into the same cookie cutter shape. So we might have a cookie cutter and be making exact replicas, but that's not realistic to people. So I'm going to explain some of the differences and why a massage experience might be different. So the first thing I want to talk about is background and education. So our massage therapists come from all different backgrounds, different languages, different cultures, different family cultures, and so there might be some differences based on those things, where they came from, how they interacted when they were in that background. So let's keep that in mind whenever we're trying a new therapist, that they might speak or communicate in a way different than you're used to. Of course, we always want to maintain professional standards, and so we do train on communication and how to say things in the most appropriate and best way, but that does not mean that there might be some different ways of people communicating. So there's also education. Everyone's educated at a different level. Some of our therapists have never had a secondary education beyond high school, but some of our therapists have degrees, right? So everyone's got a different level. They might have a different vocabulary, but we're all here together to provide the best experience possible for each client. So another thing to keep in mind is that each client, even if we see the same client repetitively, they may have different needs per session that are different than the time previously. So let's say someone came in and the first time I saw them, they had a neck and shoulder issue, but then they did yard work and the next time they come in, their lower back is thrown out. Okay, so the massage session will be a little bit different based on the needs of the client. If the client is communicating that they would like some work on the lower back, there might be less time in the neck and shoulder. If the amount of time that we have is the same as the previous time, the look of the massage will be a little bit different as needed. Another thing to keep in mind when trying new therapists or being encouraged to try new therapists is that massage therapy is very impactful on our bodies as therapists. Especially if we're doing therapeutic and deep tissue massages, it can impact our body over time. Most therapists only last 5 to 7 years. Some people last much longer, but in our business, in this location, our people may last only 5 to 7 years. So a person that needs massages for the rest of their life, they may not get the same therapist indefinitely. So let's just try our very best to try new therapists. Another thing to keep in mind of why we can't have cookie cutter therapists is because everybody's a different size. Some of our therapists are much shorter and some are much taller. We have different body shapes. Maybe the tip of my elbow is larger than someone else's. Our hands may be different, the shape of our hands, the feel of our hands, the fact that maybe one person's hands are more smooth while someone else's might be more rough. Of course, we try to mitigate any uncomfortable differences, like we don't allow long nails, we don't allow cuticles to be sharp, etc. But overall, hands are going to be different. It's going to feel a little bit different. Another thing to keep in mind whenever you are trying a new therapist is that everyone has a different personality. If there is a little bit of discussion during the massage, the way I put it may be a little bit different than another person. While we do have communication classes, we're not going to all say things exactly the same way. Of course, we will try our very best to maintain professional relationships with each of our clients, that we speak in a way that's appropriate, very well thought out communication. Of course, we're going to try our very best to make sure that all of our communication is up to professional standards. We do communication classes. We try our very best to get our therapists comfortable in communicating to the client. Also, feedback. We love feedback. We need it. For us to improve your experience as well as another person's experience, another client that comes in later, it's best that we do get your feedback right away so that we can talk to the therapist, we can kind of work out how to do it better next. Another thing to keep in mind is that things are subjective. Pain is subjective to the person feeling it. Pressure is subjective to the person feeling it and the person giving it. So one person might say medium pressure, and to some therapists, that's actually light pressure, or to another therapist, it might be hard pressure. So it's subjective, so we have to do our very best within the session itself to test out different levels of pressure and then have feedback from the client on what they want. If the client doesn't speak up and say what they are feeling, then we will not be able to adjust to their needs. Lastly, try to have grace for a new therapist. every time I have a new client, it is very nerve-wracking to see and try to make sure that experience is the best possible. Just because I don't know this person, I'm trying to learn what they like, what they don't like, what they want to focus on, how long they want me to focus on that. All those things are going on in the mind of the therapist. And so we're trying our very best to have a very good experience for you. So please give us a little bit of grace and that good feedback so that we can do better. So this is what I have for today, an explanation of why not every single therapist can be the same as another therapist. The massage experience may differ between person to person. We have to do our best to give people leeway and give people a chance so that therapists in our business can get better and improve and meet the standards and goals of each client. Thank you so much for today. I'll see you guys next time. This is Ella signing off.